I've been riding on a daydream. Howdy YouTube, welcome to RV Daydream. Today we want to talk about our newest solution for water and drinking the water from the campgrounds on the road. So we'll give this a whirl and tell you what we think. Heidi's excited because we won't have to fill the pitcher no more.
Well, we hope. Yeah,
we hope. We've been very happy with these filters here. And what are these filters? This is a Clear 2.0. This is what they call a dirt guard. The big one is a dirt guard. It's a cleanable, reusable filter. Once it gets so dirty, you can buy the replacement for it. And then this is a carbon block filter. It's not the cheap Camco ones that have the powder in it. It's a carbon block. It's made of a coconut, if I'm not mistaken. So it's organic also, all natural, of course, except for the plastics. But the system here, this gets the water down to 1 micron as far as cleaning it up. So 1 micron doesn't quite get it to drinking water level necessarily, although you can drink it. Now, after this, we have a water softener. We have a double standard water softener, and that really doesn't do anything for the water as far as drinking it, because technically you're not supposed to drink softened water, but if you run it through filters, you can, and we have for years. That's the way it was at our house, out of our well, and of course went through a softener and then up through the system that we had drank, like I said, all those years. Now, since we've been traveling, and we are in Florida right now. I don't know when you're watching this necessarily, but it's the beginning of March. Beautiful weather out. We snowbird down in Florida this whole winter, and good choice, definitely. But one of the things that we noticed is their water's pretty harsh down here. It's pretty rough, and we got tired of actually drinking the water that was coming from pitchers, and I'm sorry, not pitchers, but the jugs. And what I mean is, we would go and pay $1.25 and get our jug refilled, and that $1.25, that's good for 5 gallons. Once we did 2 7-gallons and a 5-gallon, we'd bring it back to the RV and we'd utilize that for drinking. We've done that for a long time, except we're finding that when we're traveling through Florida, it's kind of hard to find, you know, these places that have the water dispensers, and even when they do, it's inconvenient. It's very inconvenient. So that's when we got the Clear 2.0 system, and we have a zero pitcher that takes that micron level down to hardly anything. And we have a little reader, and you know, of course, it reads almost TDS. Yeah, the TDS, it reads almost zero. Now, that thing isn't supposed to be necessarily the way to judge your drinking water. You're supposed to have some solids in there, stuff like that. But it's been working. The problem is we're finding that even with the filters, it seems like that we're going through a filter relatively quick in the pitcher, and refilling that pitcher is getting so old. I mean, it really is. It's a 6-cup pitcher, and it just seems like that we're always using that between the ice maker that we have and just drinking water all the time. It just seems like we're always refilling it. So we had reached out and spoke with a CLEARSOURCE, and they have a system that we think might take care of things. Now, we are not going to get rid of the Clear 2.0 dirt guard or that carbon block filter, because we like that a lot. It's nice, it's easy, it's very portable, and it does a very good job. But we're going to jump into this other system and take a look at it and see what we think. The box that you're going to get it in, it's not small. It's not a small box. It was a little bit bigger than I thought, but this is the outer box, which is good, and then this is what's inside. So you can see it's a premium RV water system. This is set up for RVs mainly, and we'll go ahead and take a look inside. I cut it open, but I haven't looked inside yet. Neither is Heidi. And look at that. You get a filter wrench. That's nice. And then there's some instructions there too. This is basically a portable system that is all solid. I don't know how else to describe it. Instead of trying to run multiple filters, they put it in a setup. They put it in a bracket. They mount it for you so that it's easy for you to just set this up. Now, I'll have to say, the first thing I can think of is I might want to add a handle to this. I'd like to add a handle to the top here. I think I could do that. Something as simple as a bungee cord even, because these holes are open on the ends, so you could hook it. Yeah, but I'm gonna open this up and look at the filters that are inside. Okay, very simple to unscrew. Of course, they give you the wrench. The inlet side is going to be on the left side. Looking at this label, this is the inlet side. Just like it would be for a garden hose or anything else that you're attaching to, like a spigot on the side of the house. This is the female side that hooks to your hose. So you'll run your hose in here. So those dirt guards that we have, they're going to run a hose into here. And then they go through the filter. It only goes one way. You can't reverse it, and you'd have to flip this thing around. So if you have some sort of issue that, if you've got this mounted and you're like, man, I wish that my water inlet was on this side, well, you can do that. You can take all these screws off. You'll have to remove this entire manifold system in here, turn it around, and then remount it back up in there. And then, of course, this would be the inlet. So as far as the filters, this might be a little confusing, but this first filter, that's like a rust filter. It's only 5 micron. That's a very basic filter. We used to have a whole house filter that was the same thing. It was just a rust guard. The good news is because we're running a dirt guard and another filter, these filters should last longer. But that's the first one. Now this one here, this one does most of the business. This helps with the taste. It's a carbon block. There's actually carbon inside there. It's a coconut. It's some sort of coconut shell. And this one is a 0.5 micron. So you've now reduced everything lower than we currently have, other than when we use that zero pitcher. That, of course, lowers it even more than what these filters are, but we don't need that far. We just need to protect ourselves. We need to be down to about 0.5 micron, and we need to protect ourselves from, guess what? Virus. And that's what this one is. This last one's a virus filter. And it doesn't look like much, but apparently that's how it works. That's how the virus is taken care of. So you can see that the main obstacle here, by far, is just the size. It's definitely the size of the unit. The weight a little bit, but definitely the size. So let me play around a little bit, see if I can find a way that it makes sense for us, and I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the deal. We have a solution that we could use. Now, if you guys don't know or haven't seen our previous video on this is a generator box system that we set up whenever we're out RVing. Where there's no power. I can run the rooftop air conditioner with this, and we have a extended gas tank over there that will allow me to run the rooftop air for about 37 hours on the fuel that's available. This system here, of course, the only reason we can put this stuff back here is we have a big 5-inch bumper that, again, I did a video on that, and it can handle 600 pounds 1 foot out. Well, we're not at 600 pounds here, so this could definitely be back here. And as far as our tongue weight, even though we have a relatively short RV, we do have a Pro Pride hitch on the front, so we're at about 1,050 on our tongue weight. All of this is really for nothing, because this would require us to only be able to use it if the water source was like at this campground at the rear. And I'll tell you right now, that's rare. I don't think we've ever run into that. The water source is always, you know, like in this area or up a little bit further in front of where the slide is. Now, we do have a water softener up there, but I mean, there is a chance we could plumb this to make it work. But I think what we're going to do is what I was discussing prior, and that is making this have a handle on it of some kind to be able to carry it. Of course, you don't want to drill through here because you drill into the system that holds the filters. But I think we're just going to make it to where this thing sits outside by the water softener. That's probably the best way to go. Let me show you what that looks like. Again, size and weight. You can see how Heidi's doing carrying this. This is without the filters in it and without water in it. You know, each one of those filters holds a little bit of water. So let's go ahead and show you what this would look like over here. And this is something that we would have to do every time. So our water inlet would we have a choice. This is a tough choice. We would either have to run the water through the softener, then through all the filters, probably the best way to go. That would knock down the salt. Yeah, and then of course into the RV. So this is something that we're going to have to play around with, and we'll see what our next setup is. We're getting ready to head out of this campground. Again, if this is portable, like in this case, we could put it in the back bumper. But at the next campground, I don't think it's that way. So Heidi will take us to the next campground.
3, 2, 1.
Now that we've been here at the campground for a little bit, I'm going to get Heidi in front of the camera and talk about this system. But I wanted to show you the way that we have it hooked up here. So we went ahead and tucked it underneath the RV. And the reason we did that is just to keep light off of it. Now, I wanted to say that it doesn't need to be like this. However, we feel as if it's protecting it somewhat, being, you know, tucked underneath the RV a bit here. And we did set it up on a board. This is a heavy-duty metal cage that these filters sit in, and it is powder coated, so it can handle, like where we're at here at the beach, you know, the salt water. But you want to protect it from nicks and scratches as much as possible. And you can see it's just standard garden hoses. These are drinking water hoses that we use. It's Flexzilla. I'll put the link in the description here. We love these hoses because the connectors on the end, they spin. This whole thing spins. It's easier to get it on and off. Now, of course, before the water even sees these canisters, which again, it's one direction flow only. I went ahead and marked it, make it a little bit easier for ourselves. You've got the water softener that the water goes through. So the water's coming from another filtration system, which I'll show you, which is not needed, but that's what we've done. And it goes into the water softener. And again, the link will be down below for this. The same company makes not only this filtration, this ultra filter system, but they also make that water softener, and we've been really happy with both of them so far. What if you're a full-timer like us? Well, you're going to be changing your filters, they're saying about every 2 to 3 months. However, if you are just going out on the weekend, you know what, you're probably wondering, well, what do I do? Just leave it sit there with water in it? No. If you're coming back from your camping trip, just pull out all your filters and let them dry. You just let them dry. It's not a big deal. It's easy to do. And then you can put it all back together again and re-soak it. Now, whenever you first get your system, make sure that you do kind of a light flush to clear everything out that those filters might, you know, release on the initial soaking. And the good thing that we've noticed about this, which is a welcome, you know, option or a welcome feature, our water pressure, our flow, we really haven't noticed any difference. And I mean, that's, you know, there's something to be said about that, because like I showed you there, not only do I have that dirt guard and then that inline carbon block, but then we have the water softener and the 3 filters, and it's fine. I mean, our showers are fine, our water flow's fine, everything's great. Now, one thing that I want to make very clear on, we used to live, whenever I was younger, I used to live in an area that we had a lot of sulfur in our water, lots of it. And this won't remove, none of this will take away sulfur. Sulfur is basically a smell, a gas. The only way you get rid of that is if you have an aerator. And good luck with that. I've yet to see how somebody can install an aerator on an RV, and I don't think that'll ever happen. But that's not what filtration systems are set up for. So yes, if you have sulfur smell, you're still going to have sulfur smell. That's just the way it is. We've been using it for about 2 weeks straight, and a lot. Not only for drinking water, but for our ice, which we go through probably half a pound of ice a day.
Yeah, it definitely cleaned up the water pretty good. It doesn't have any foul taste to it. It's overall, it's great.
Yeah, we've gone through, like I said, many gallons, and of course the system set up to handle so many. I can't remember what the 1,000 part is. I'll put it here. You'll see how many gallons it's supposed to go through. But again, with those 3 filters in there, it's dropped down to a level that we find is definitely acceptable. Now, could we add another filter yet to the system? Sure, it would drop it even more, but I don't know if we need to. That 0.5 micron that we have it at currently is doing a pretty good job. And just to be clear, we're not using the 0 pitcher any longer. That may change. We might get to a system that might be a lot of well water that might require that, but it's perfect. I haven't had any issue with it whatsoever. So
it also helps that the water's good to begin with here.
Well, right, and as far as, you know, this is treating all of our water, so our showers, everything. So the way we have our system set up, it's worked really, really well. So the link's going to be down in the description like everything else. Again, as far as the cons of the system, I don't know if you can count them as cons. I think it's just part of what's necessary. The size and the bulk and the weight of it, you know, manipulating it, moving it around, that's probably the toughest part for us. But I can't think of another way that you could do it without it being that heavy. I mean, you just can't. The amount of water that's in each filter and how big each filter is, so
it's nice and it's in that
right
to transport it.
Right, absolutely. So I'm glad we got it. I can't think of one single downfall since we've got it. And the nice thing is we've had a lot of high winds here, so one of the benefits of it being a little heavy, it didn't push it over, nothing.
Nope.
It stood strong. So again, the link will be down in the description. ClearSource, this is the Ultra RV system, and it's got the virus protection in it. It's got that 3rd filter that has virus protection. So if you click the link, it'll take you right to that one. And of course, it's Amazon, so you'll get it in just a few days. So hopefully this helped you out. I mean, this is our 4th attempt at trying to find, I'm sorry, the 3rd attempt at trying to find good ways of being on the road drinking water as much as we do, and this seems to be the best way so far. This will allow you to be on the road without dealing with a pitcher, filling a pitcher of water. You know, that 0 pitcher was fine, but it was just a pain. It was a pain to do. So again, the link will be down below for our system, and I say go for it. Yep. It's definitely the easiest way.
Yes, absolutely.
Hook up the hose and you're done.
Yep.
All right, as always.
Hope to see you out here. Bye.
Bye.